to defend yourself just for setting boundaries. This is very common in the wonderful world of leadership. And in this video, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how you can start setting boundaries as a woman in leadership. Now, I want to preface this by saying this is a Q&A. Therefore, depending on how you are watching this video, if you're watching live, or more than likely, if you're watching this portion of the video, you are watching the replay, feel free to leave me a comment or a question as it relates to setting boundaries. I know that many leaders really do struggle with this, and I want to provide you with some insight so that you can feel a bit more comfortable setting boundaries as we step into 2026. If you are new to me, my name is Dr. Jacinta, and I am an executive coach and consultant. My target audience in terms of who I provide executive coaching and consulting services to are women in leadership. However, on many of the platforms that I have accounts on, social media wise, I have many people that are part of my audience. I have women in leadership, I have men in leadership, and I have individuals who are not leaders just yet, and they're at the point where they are about to transition into a leadership role. Even if you're not in my direct audience I provide services to, you're going to learn some very universal strategies here that will absolutely help you be able to communicate at a higher level than your peers. This channel heavily focuses on advanced communication skills and strategies that will set you apart from everyone else. If you're at a point in your career where you know you need to elevate how you communicate, this is the best place for you to be at on YouTube. Now, as this is a live video, there's typically a point in time where the audience will join the conversation. Therefore, give me just a few moments so I can interact with everyone, and we'll get started into the Q&A. And if you have questions and you're watching the replay, just place them in the comments below, and we'll have a conversation about how to help you work with your boundaries. There's a couple of things I want to mention to you before the audience joins. There are 5 boundaries in terms of categories that I would encourage you to really take a look at as you are transitioning as a leader and going into 2026. The 5 categories that I have seen that people tend to struggle with as it relates to leadership include the following. They tend to struggle with the time boundary, the money boundary, the energy boundary, the personal boundary, and the professional boundary. These are boundaries that people tend to struggle with quite a bit as they are leaders. And we're going to talk about it today. I want to know what questions you have about setting boundaries. And many times people are simply uncomfortable setting boundaries for 2 reasons. One, they're worried about how they are looking. And I want to say hello to those who have joined today. Welcome, welcome. And let me say hello to those who are present. We have Mama Joe, Mama, hello, welcome. How you doing today? And we have Sulema Jacob. I think I said that incorrectly. 3339 says, love the channel. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. We have Jeffrey Higgins, L2F, says, I love you forever and always. Well, thank you. Appreciate y'all being here today. We have Summer VRW6. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Neville Bagachi says hello. And tell me how to pronounce your name. Is it am I pronouncing it correctly? I want to say it's Sulamia. I'm not quite sure. I feel like I'm not doing it correctly, but you're from Malaysia. I hope you're doing well. We have Don't Give Up, CR. You look fancy. Well, thank you so much. And let me know how to pronounce your name correctly. I just see Yakub, I believe, 3339. So I want to make sure I say it correctly. And BLKTY52 says, hello, Queen. Welcome, welcome. Hope y'all doing well today. Have you ever struggled with boundaries? Let's talk about it today. This is a Q&A. I want to share with you for the time that I have before I have an appointment I have to go to. Have you ever struggled with boundaries, setting boundaries, whether it's in the 5 categories I mentioned before, which are time, money, energy, personal, and professional? Let me know if you have struggled with boundaries and what questions you have, because I want to help you feel more comfortable saying what you need to say when you're trying to set these boundaries. And if you like this information so far, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. I talk about advanced communication skill strategies for leaders every single day. I go live 2 times a week, 2 times a day, Tuesday through Friday. So I'm typically live in the mornings around this time and in the evenings as well. I'm here really to support you on your journey. I know how hard it is being a leader, whether you are in my direct audience that I work with in terms of executive coaching and consulting services, which are women in leadership, or maybe you are a man in leadership, or someone that's not a leader just yet, but you're trying to learn a little bit more about it. I'm here really to support you. So let me know what struggles you all have had as it relates to setting boundaries. Let's talk about it today. Let's talk about it for the next 25 minutes or so I can help you be more comfortable and feel more comfortable saying what you need to say to set those boundaries. All right, let's finish up. Let me see. Hello to everyone. We have Bug Bomb 8048. Hello, hope you're doing well today. And we have Alexis 7121. Hello. And this person says, who are you? My name is Dr. Jacinta, and I am an executive coach, consultant, public speaker, and dentist. All right, so we have Slow 5, the Jen 460 says, you are so beautiful. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Alexis 7121 says, you have a good voice. OC, well, welcome back. How you doing today? Says, I'm trying to be a player for 2026. I don't know what type of games you're trying to play. You can let me know in the comments below. But we're talking about setting boundaries today. And we have Alexis says, 7121. I hear about this thing, voice projection. Kindly explain. Voice projection it's just a way that you're able to, it's a way you're able to communicate, but you're projecting your voice elsewhere. Does that make sense? I would say, and this is in my very humble opinion, I'm not the expert on voice projection, but I would say when you think of individuals that are doing ventriloquy, where people have different types of mannequins or etc. that they're speaking with, but you can't see them speaking with, that, in my very humble opinion, is what voice projection is. But that's just my very humble opinion. Now, I do want to say there are a couple things we can talk about as it relates to setting boundaries. So if you've been struggling with setting boundaries and you don't know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, maybe someone is taking advantage of your time, taking advantage of your money, taking advantage of your energies, taking advantage of your personal space, taking advantage of you professionally, you need to let me know. And let's talk about it today in the live, in our conversation. This is a very unique live because I know many of you are maybe new to me, but actually on this live, I will say hello to you as long as you're talking about things that are appropriate, not anything that's offensive and just completely ridiculous. I will actually say hello to you. Many of the live streams here on YouTube, people will join, and the commentators or the creators or influencers will not say anything to them. This is not that type of live. I will say hello to you. All right, so Muhammad Alma-Rosie, Alma Rosie. I think I know I'm spelling that. I'm not saying that correct, friend. Let me know how to pronounce it. Says, can you say hi? It's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Muhammad. Hope you're doing well today. We have Mahid Sodi 1980 says, hello everybody, welcome. We have Sir Charles Buddington 7534. Why are you ignoring my very serious? Well, so I'll tell you this, Sir Charles, this is not the place for nonsense. If you talk nonsense, I will hide you from the channel very quickly. We have Jaya G4R. Welcome back, friend. How you doing today? Good to see you. All right, so we have Sulaima. Let me know how to pronounce your name. The question is, what does boundaries mean? So boundaries means you have to set up some type of, I want to say guardrails, but not in the physical sense, but in the actual visual sense. And you have to set up guardrails in terms of how people treat you and what you want them to do. So for instance, UCOB, I'm going to say that part because I think I'm not saying the first part correctly. When you are in a situation where you feel like you are not in control, or you're feeling burnt out, or you're feeling like someone is taking advantage of you, maybe taking advantage of your kindness and etc. as a leader, then that's where you want to set up boundaries, because boundaries are incredibly important for you to do. If you struggle with this a little bit, many times you don't know how to set your boundaries. And this is something I want you all to really think about as you're going into 2026. There's many things that happened this year, potentially to you or other people, that you may not have appreciated. You felt like people were not communicating with you the right way. Maybe you felt that there was some projects you were trying to accomplish and you just couldn't simply do it. There may be some boundaries that you need to set. I shared on a couple of my live videos, and for those of you who are new to me or subscribers, I have a lot of content on my lives that talk about advanced communication strategies, but this month in December, we've been focusing heavily on boundaries. And one of the boundaries that I struggled with initially was the personal boundary, and I also struggled with the time boundary as well. And so I talk about that in a couple of my videos, so we can talk about that. Alrighty, so we have Gracira Carr XQ1XC says hello, welcome. We have Mark Boogie de Montage. Okay, where is the word Christmas in the Bible? Help, I'm confused. Well, this video we're talking a bit more about boundaries, not necessarily about Christmas in the Bible, but there's a couple other channels that probably talk a bit more about that. But that's a really good question, though. If you really think about it, it's a good question that you brought up. Alex Alexis 7121 says, I'm more concerned with vocals, though. I believe what you're referring to is, it's just a way for you to make your voice transition to a different location. When public speakers do this, when we're speaking, we have to speak at a certain tone of voice so that everybody can hear us. But let me know if you have some specific questions about that, Alex. Let's see. Okay, so Grisserat Car is talking about something about a car trunk. We're going to keep moving. Lonnie Burton says, good morning. I am Bishop Burton Challenge with church and family time. Well, hello, welcome. Hope you're doing fantastically well, friend. Let's talk about boundaries. I appreciate you being here, and let me know what boundaries you're struggling with this year. I've talked briefly about categories of boundaries that I've seen professionals and leaders really struggle with. So for instance, you are a bishop, and in your case, you're a leader, and you're a leader of many, many people. I don't know your church specifically, but I know you're a leader. And sometimes leaders really struggle with these categories of boundaries. There's spiritual boundaries, which you may have more insight on than I do specifically. But on the professional side, the boundaries I see that people struggle with are the time boundary, the money boundary, the energy boundary, the personal boundary, and the professional boundary. So if you take some time to really think about those boundaries specifically as it relates to your role as a bishop, and think about what are some aspects of these boundaries that you may need to set, then this is something that will help you be able to accelerate and take care of some of those maybe big projects that you're working on with your church this upcoming year. And if you have questions about setting boundaries, maybe you have a really challenging situation that's going on, let me know in the comments below. I have been a C-suite executive and a director and a manager for over 20 years and a public speaker. I've been in very friendly and very contentious situations. I've interacted with different congressional leaders here in the national level and the highest levels here in the United States, and also in the Sunshine State of Florida. Therefore, I'm the person that deals with the hard things. So if you have a hard situation, I'll probably help you be able to figure something out and figure out what to say exactly. Pratik Galakar 1011, hello friend, how are you? Pratik says, hello, how are you doing today? I'm doing well today. I'm actually still a little under the weather, but I will be all right. We have Tara Taha. It says, hello, you're gorgeous. Welcome. We have Rober MER F7B. Hello. We have Joe Case G6L. Hope you're doing well today. We have Timur Khan W2B. Why do you have 4 eyes? Well, Timur, we're really talking about changing people's lives with setting boundaries. So this isn't the channel to talk nonsense, I would say. There's a lot of channels here on YouTube where you can go live and you can say silly things and troll, but this channel, I'm actually trying to change people's lives so that they can communicate at a higher level than their peers. Tara Taha says, you're really pretty. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we have AshTME 4146. Well, if you don't like what I'm wearing, you don't have to be on the channel, friend. We have Jim H6254. All right. Hope you're doing well today. And as many of you know, we have John Osea T7M8I. We have a lot of people. As the channel grows, so do the trolls. So you all have to be patient with me as I'm going through the comments today, because anybody that's saying something inappropriate, I will hide you from the channel. We have Pindi Kara Jawali N7R says, hello, I'm from Indonesia. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. And we have Makassar in South Sulawesi. I know I didn't say that right. Pindi, I think it is. If I didn't say it correctly, just let me know in the comments below. Let me know what questions you have in the video as it relates to setting boundaries. Let me know what you have, what questions you have, and let's talk about a couple boundaries that I encourage you to start working on trying to set in 2026. We have Cabello Moth Apo. Hello. Alexis is talking about wasting too much time out with names, getting them right. Well, Alex, guess what? I'm actually the person that will communicate with people, because in my humble opinion, if you've taken time to be on my live, there's a million other places, Alex, that people can be in the world today. And the fact that someone took time to come to the live and say hello and they're not being inappropriate, that's what I do here. And today is a Q&A. I have many videos on my channel, Alex, where we go into a lot of content and etc. But typically on Fridays, I do more of a question and answer. And I'm not the live channel that's just going to sit there and have you come on and ignore you and not even say hello. That's not me personally. So if you feel like I'm wasting too much time, then there's probably some other videos that you can maybe check out on my channel where we don't have as many people join. And this is just part of live streaming. This is what live streaming is about. Lonnie Burton's 3293 says amen. And we have Pindi Kara Jawali says, Bali, many Americans go there for vacation. I've heard of it. I have not actually visited there yet. We have Azu07. Welcome back. How you doing today? We have Lamb Food. I Am Food Lover Videos. Hello, welcome. Good to see you again. I believe you've been on the channel before. I believe so. We have Dream Screen AI 66. Hello. Pinati 323 says hello. Welcome. And we have Lazrich 9224 says hello. Good morning. God bless. God bless you too, friend. Singer Baba 440. Welcome back, friend from India. Good to see you again. Pratik Galakar 1011 says, why are people talking nonsensible things in chat instead of asking questions about setting boundaries? Pratik Galakar, that's a great question. I appreciate you for being here and mentioning that. We're talking about boundaries, and I know you all have struggled with boundaries. Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about them. And particular car, as always, appreciate you being here, friend, and trying to keep the boundaries where they need to be in terms of having a conversation. So Jaya, good to see you again, and Jay Brown, Virginia. So we're talking about appropriate things on the channel, and Mila, yes, if you don't like what I'm saying, you don't have to be here, friend, and you don't have to be here. So as I mentioned earlier, this is something David XMLG says hello, good morning from Mexico City. Welcome, David. How you doing today? So let's talk about it. I mentioned to you the 5 boundaries you want to work on this upcoming year: time, money, energy, personal, and professional. Let's talk about why people struggle with boundaries so much. Many times people struggle with boundaries because they simply don't know what to say and how to say it. As people, for the most part, we are generally very good people, and we try to help other individuals, but sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we're overextending ourselves a bit too much, and then it starts to impact us. One of the analogies I want you all to consider as it relates to setting boundaries is something that we talked about last night as it relates to individuals that are very giving of their time. They like to help people, they love to help people, and they don't take care of themselves. One of the analogies that I want you to remember, now remember this when you are in those situations as a leader, and I appreciate the heart emojis, as a leader, when you feel like you're in a setting where you're just giving and giving and giving, but you're not at the point where you're taking care of yourself, remember, if you've ever flown on a plane, if you have not flown on a plane, this is what they say. If there is something that happens with the plane and the plane has to go down for whatever reason, and we have to make a crash landing or whatever the case may be, what do they tell you to do? Thank you for the heart emojis. Do you all remember what we talked about yesterday, if you were here yesterday? If not, if you've been on a plane, what do they tell you you have to do if the plane is going down? What do they say? I'm going to wait just a moment to see if anybody remembers. What do they say when you're flying a plane if the plane is going to go down? All right, I'm waiting for the response, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. They tell you what? You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, before you put the oxygen mask on everybody else. Now let's talk about that. And I appreciate the heart emojis. Why is this so important? Why am I giving you a analogy of flying a plane or being on an airplane as it relates to setting boundaries? Because if you cannot take care of yourself, you will not be able to take care of everyone else. Many times as leaders, we just try our best to take care of so many people at the same time. But if we are struggling and we're not able to take care of ourselves, we can't really fully be present for those individuals that we are trying to help and support. The way that we can become present is by setting boundaries. You can still be that amazing leader. And I know if you are watching this video and subscribe to my channel, I know you are amazing, because the topics I talk about and have videos on are very specific to a certain type of individual. But I want to say that if you are a leader and you're giving and you're not being able to take care of yourself, it makes it very hard for you to really support your team. That's why you need to be able to set your boundaries specifically, because if you can set boundaries in a way to where you are providing value to your time, your energy, your money, your personal life, and then also with your professional life, then you can be able to take care of other people because you're taking care of yourself. So let me go into the chat. Let me see what's going on, and we'll talk about a couple things. And if you have questions, maybe you have a really challenging situation that you're not quite sure of how you want to set your boundaries for. You don't know what to say. You're maybe worried about how to say it as a leader. Maybe you're a woman in leadership and you're in my direct audience. I provide executive coaching and consulting services too. Or perhaps you're a man in leadership and you are someone that is not a leader just yet, but you're trying to figure out, how does this work? Let me know if you have some issues or have some challenges. Let's talk about this today so we can help you with set those boundaries. So Jaya GR4 says, I'm sorry for everything you did and said to me. I'm not, you didn't do anything wrong, friend. Pratik Galatkar 1011 says, you have to take care of yourself first in the situation. Yes, exactly, Pratik. I appreciate you mentioning that. We have Lunda TV 7551. I'm new here. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. We are talking about setting boundaries, and if you've ever struggled with setting boundaries, let's talk about it today. Give me some scenarios, some situations where you felt like you had a hard time setting boundaries as a leader that are professional, and we'll talk about it today. We have Lunda TV 7551 says, like done, and a thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're here and present on the channel. We have Spit and Chip says, you need to eat less and exercise. Obesity is serious. Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but of course, being healthy is important. Panati 323 says, can't help the weak if you're weak yourself. Absolutely, Panati 323. And I believe you've been here before, so welcome back. And Panati says, take care of yourself first. Exactly. Many leaders really struggle with this. Have you ever struggled with this? Maybe you've done too much. You've overexerted yourself as a leader. I personally have done this, and I have been burnt out before 2 times in my career. This is the reason why I can speak to you specifically about setting those boundaries and why it's so important. I don't want you all to make mistakes that I have made on my journey to being a leader over the past 20 years. I want you all to be in a better place. So definitely you have to take care of yourself. And Panati 323 and Pratik Galatkar 1011 has mentioned some really great insights for you to think about as you're setting those boundaries. What are some aspects about setting boundaries that you all are concerned about? Let's talk about it. Let me know in the comments below. Lunda TV 7551 is from Sweden. Welcome. And Lunda TV 7551 says, I just subscribed. Well, welcome, friend. Glad that you're here. We talk about a lot of great things on the channel, especially how to communicate at a higher level than your peers. My role here really is to help you communicate confidently and concisely under pressure. And I believe that people really do become great by how they communicate. And my mission here on this earth is to unlock the greatness within you. You may be wondering, well, how do you do that? I help you communicate better than everybody else as a leader, so that you're the person, you're that leader that stands out from everybody else and that can speak confidently under pressure. Many times leaders and managers, thank you for the heart emojis, they struggle with communicating in general. But then there's a different level of communication you do when you are under pressure. It's totally different. That is what I found is a gap that people, in terms of their leadership roles or managers, they don't know how to communicate under pressure. What do? Most people just freeze and they're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I just don't know how to handle it. Well, that's why you subscribe to this channel. This is the best channel on YouTube to help you be able to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure as a leader. I appreciate the heart emojis. We have Stony Knight 856 says, the Lord is my shepherd and he has led me to something awesome. Well, I appreciate that, Stony Knight 856, and I believe you've been here before, so welcome back. And absolutely, I appreciate you mentioning that. And if the Lord has led you to do something awesome, you will absolutely do something amazing, friend. I believe that. You hang in there. learn how to communicate at a higher level. That will absolutely help you be able to communicate and do those awesome things. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more. We have Chevy 1997. Hey, Miss Parker. Hello, hello. I believe you've been here before, so welcome back. Lunda TV 7551 says, I was just passing by. I'm glad you're here. Frankie Q9X. Welcome back, Frankie. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a while, friend. Says, Merry Christmas. And we have Aruna Sawal 4131. Hope you're doing well today. And I believe you've been here before also. Welcome, welcome. Frankie Q9X says, I wish more ladies were tuning into your content. Well, thank you, Frankie. I appreciate that. Well, keep in mind, we have a mix of women and men that are here on the actual live and on the channel. And of course, with the women in leadership that I work with in my executive coaching and consulting practice here, I work with women in leadership to help them. And there are a lot of women that watch this channel. There's a mix, especially when I look at my analytics. There's a lot of women, there's a lot of men that are here. And it makes me just so incredibly just thankful for all of you being here and watching and being a part of my journey here, because you all are what makes the platform great. Being able to live stream with you. Many of you know we've live streamed so much that YouTube has invited me to be a member of their live streamer research panel. Earlier this year, I'll be on the panel for a year because of all the live streaming and your participation and engagement in the content. So I appreciate that. And yes, Frank, we have a lot of ladies that watch the channel too. That is my target audience in terms of who I provide services to. And I really support them. But we have a lot of ladies here also. Thank you for the heart emojis, friends. And we have Lunda TV 7551. I did some liking on your shorts. Well, I appreciate that. And let me know if you have any questions about any of the content that is on the shorts, because I go into a lot of detail on those topics specifically in the videos. If you look at my shorts I have on my YouTube channel, I typically will link that specific video that the short came from in the description. So feel free to take a look at that. And I appreciate the heart emojis, the smiley faces, and the celebration caps. I appreciate you all so much. Stony Knights 856 says, And Lunda TV 7551 says, much love, host. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We have Lonnie Burton 3293 say, Bishop having turned off phone, get some rest, dealing with crisis all day. Well, I'm sure you're dealing with crisis all day. And if you have any situations that are coming up that may be really challenging for you and you want to have a conversation about, then just talk about it. Let me know in the comments below, or let me know in any of the videos. Be happy to give you some strategies and some insights on how to really handle it at that next level of leadership. We have Hamari Little Tapasia. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well. And Lunda TV 7551 says, I will keep checking on you. Well, I appreciate that, friend. We have Hamari Little Tapasa says, hey, how are you? I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well also. We have FCAWF said, what's up, gorgeous? Well, hello. How are you doing today? We have Stitch 123 Ella says, you're pretty. Thank you. I appreciate you all. And let me know what questions you have about as it relates to setting boundaries. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Himari Little Tapasia says, what's up, gorgeous? I'm doing well. And Stitch 123 Ella says, you are so pretty. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hamari Little Tapasia says, you are so cute and pretty. Thank you. Frankie Q9X says, a lot of women really don't know how to maneuver in corporate settings. Frankie, 100% right. Let me give you a high five on that, because that is the reason why I started my business. Completely, because a lot of women do not know how to maneuver themselves in corporate settings. So let me talk to you and explain to you why, Frankie, this is so much of a concern. But let me make sure I say hello to everybody real quickly before I go into that. And FACAWF says, I'd like to see your shorts, if you know what I mean. That's not really appropriate, friends, so you're going to leave the channel. Lunda TV 7551 says, just support the host. I appreciate that. We have Samuel KE. Hi, everyone, watching from Tanzania, Africa. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing today? Glad that you're here today. Appreciate you stopping by. Stitch 123 Ella says, you are so pretty. And Simone Biles CAM says, hello, low key cute. Hope you're doing well. So let's talk about what was mentioned a moment ago from Frankie Q9X. Why do women, and this is just something for everybody to know, why do women struggle with maneuvering themselves in corporate settings? Let me give you an example. Many decades ago, and not really, and thank you for the heart emojis, friends, not really that long ago, many women were in different roles. We were working as switchboard operators. Then we transitioned into, well, first we were working in factories here in the United States. We worked in factories, and we worked as switchboard operators, and we transitioned into healthcare, and now we're transitioning into these corporate roles, which is one of the reasons why women struggle in sometimes these type of corporate settings, because we traditionally have not been in those roles. Some of those roles have been predominantly occupied by men. So there's a bit of a learning curve in terms of how do we communicate, how do we develop our executive presence, and etc. I have a video here on my channel that talks about executive presence for women leaders. It is a recorded video, so it's not a live video, but you're welcome to take a look at that, because that helps to address some of the challenges that women face as it relates to being in those corporate type settings and being able to maneuver them. Many times we are expected to just continue working, and this goes for women and it goes for men too. You may be in a workplace setting where the people could care less about you and what you have going on. They just want you to work. And this is the reason why it's so incredibly important to set boundaries. Frankie Q9X, I will talk a bit more about this probably a little later this evening, because it's a good topic that you mentioned about women and how they are having a hard time navigating those corporate settings. We'll talk a little bit more about that this evening. So I appreciate you so much for mentioning that. And I'm going to take a screenshot really quickly so I can give you a shout out, Frankie, because this is something that is the main focus of my business and what I do. Now I'm going to say hello to everyone, and then I have to go to an appointment, but I do want to also mention that I will be going live later this evening. For those of you who are new, I go live in the morning and I go live in the evening, Tuesday through Friday. The only variation of that will be next week, because it's a holiday. Here is Christmas, and I will not be live as much on those Christmas days. All right, so let me say hello to everybody before we go. We have Stitch123 Ella says, I have your glasses. Oh, okay, nice. Very good. I'm glad you have them. We have Lunda TV says 77551 says Tanzania News, and says also hello Samuel. Well, thank you so much, Lunda TV. I'm glad you're here and saying hello. We have John PC2YV. Transmutant, not sure what you're referring to, friend, or who you're talking about, but we're going to keep moving. We have a dear Rachel. Hi from South Korea. You are so beautiful and sweet. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. We talk about a lot of ways that can help you communicate confidently and concisely under pressure. And if you want to learn more about that, then you absolutely need to subscribe to the channel. We have Suki2534, Miss, you remind me of Sabrina Carpenter and Teddy Roosevelt. Okay. Oh, well, thank you. I think that's a compliment. Well, I appreciate you being here and asking some questions or mentioning some statements here, everybody. I appreciate you so much. If you have ever struggled with boundaries, feel free to know this is a safe space, as safe as we can make it here on YouTube. I will answer you, and I will give you some strategies to help you be able to communicate how you want to say those boundaries. I know as leaders, you struggle with this, and people struggle with this because they just don't know what to say and how to say it. It's okay. If you subscribe to my channel and follow me, you will not struggle with this anymore. I will give you some insights that will help you be able to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure, especially when you need to set these boundaries. If you have someone that's taking advantage of you, giving you a hard time, as a leader, maybe in your business also, or maybe you're a public official and you're struggling with setting these boundaries so that you can take care of yourself in 2026, let's talk about it. I'll go Q&A a bit later this evening, and we'll talk more about it as well. And I appreciate you all so much for stopping by the channel to say hello and interacting. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.